Greetings, everybody. Welcome to Allegiance. And today we're going to be asking, I'm going to be trying to answer this question that somebody asked me. Are we overpopulated? And is the Earth's resources not able to support and sustain us all? Right? So this is something that we have often heard really from the elites and the people who are running the system. They tell us that there is really the Earth is in full capacity and that some of us need to die down, and that that there need to be some disasters and some pandemics to reduce the population because we've really gone overboard, and that we should reduce even the birth rate, and that we should see how the population of the Earth can be controlled. But I'm going to show you today that this isn't really true. We're not really overpopulated. The reality is that we are only overcrowded. You see, what we have is that the planet has lots of empty space. It's just that people are conglomerating into specific areas, into metropolitan areas, into cities. And then lots of free space, lots of free land is left vacant and unoccupied, right? And then what we have is that people are clustered together in only these small areas, right? And if you're in a smaller area of land and there's many of you, of course the resources in that area are going to be depleted, because in reality a certain amount of space, a certain amount of land is only able to accommodate a certain amount of people, right? You know that land only can only produce a certain space of land can only produce so much crop, and crops can only grow so fast, right? So it's not that we are overpopulated, it's just that we are clustered, right? We are not spread out. We are squeezing ourselves into one area, and of course that creates the illusion that we are overcrowded. Now let me just not make it seem like this is my opinion or my take on it, but this is really, if we take it from the Bible itself says that we were never meant to cluster into smaller or metropolitan areas, but rather we were supposed to disperse and fill the earth, right? There's enough for everybody. And I'm going to just read it to you in Genesis chapter 11, when we look at the story of the Tower of Babel, right? So before we even go there, really, I just want to show you what God's will was when He created the earth, and what it still is today, just that we've missed it, right? God said to Adam and Eve that they must be fruitful and multiply, and they should fill the earth, right? Let me find the verse now. It says that in verses 28, Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, it says, "And God blessed them, and God said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth." Right? So what is God saying? He's saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth, replenish the earth and subdue it, right? And then when we look at after the flood in Genesis chapter 9, after there was that reset and humanity was starting all over again to repopulate the earth, God told the same thing to Noah and his sons. In verses 1 of chapter 9, it says, "And God blessed Noah and his sons, and said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth." Right? So what is God saying? He's saying, multiply, fill the earth, right? It's big enough for you. But what we have in chapter 11 is that people went against God's command to spread out, and they decided to cluster into and started creating these metropolitan areas. They started establishing these kingdoms and empires and they brought themselves together. And this is what we find in Genesis chapter 11. It says, "And the whole world was of one language and of one speech, and it came to pass as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. and they made brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. Right? So we see that people initially were spreading out from the site of the ark, but when they came to the land of Shinar, they just changed they just changed the mission, right? They started to want to come together and to settle as a group, as a crowd. They wanted to make a name for themselves. They said, let us make a name for ourselves and let us build this tower, right? And so they came together and they were building what we call, it says it plainly that they were building a city and a tower, right? And really that caused them no longer to disperse, but rather to stay and conglomerate in one area, to come and, to cluster in this region or this portion of the earth, this in this particular into this particular region, what do you call? Into this particular plain in the land of Shinar, right? And they said that we're going to build this tower lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth, right? That was God's intention, that they were supposed to scatter abroad and to fill the earth. Because the reason why God said it is because there was enough for everybody, but it was them of their own selves, of their own rebelliousness, that caused them to stay in one area, right? And now when you have people clustering in one area, we have scarcity. Scarcity is created because before they were free and they were allowed to spread out, and each of them had access to natural resources freely. But when you cluster in one land into a city, what happens is that you have to compete for resources in that land that are available in that land, right? Resources become scarce because there's the same poor small piece of land has to support this multitude, while it was only meant to support only a few. There's enough of it, but the issue is that we are overcrowded, not overpopulated, if you understand where we're going with this, right? So it's only an illusion. But in reality, if you go from one city to the next, there's lots of open space, right? You see areas called conservation sites, but really this is just a way to keep man from being free. Because as you move from one city to the next,